Hello, my name is James Ellis, and today we'll be looking at SQL and NoSQL. SQL is SQL query language, which is a relational database that requires every item within this type of database to be defined in its table. You cannot just randomly bring something inside of it without it being already predefined. And you can generally, when you take everything out, it's already very well defined as well because it's been defined inside the table. It has a schema. Now, when we think about how this database works, we can do a simple example here where we say, I've got a table that's a customer table that has name, address, phone number, and email address. And I can have another table that is a receipt table. It has a date, receipt ID number, and a product ID, and then I could have a customer ID, and then I can have another table over here that it may be just a product table that gives me the product ID, the product description, and the warranty. So I have three different tables. Now, if I want to generate a report that tells me who bought product X, so I want to know the date they bought it, I want to know the warranty that's tied to it, and I want their email address, I'm going to have to query all three tables because all this data doesn't live in one table. So hence, a relational database, it has to go across multiple tables and requires computing power to do it. So with that, I may need a more powerful system depending on what I'm doing, and you generally find SQL servers pretty powerful. Now, when I also think about the same thing, there is a benefit to all of this, and that's that when I have to update something, when I update, like per se, the email address, I'm only going to update the customer table. I don't have to update anything else, and because everybody's always going to use a customer table to pull the email address. So that is a benefit that from an update standpoint, only update in one place. The other thing that's not so positive about it, back to that power issue, is that the scalability of this thing is limited to vertical, and that's because I can only increase the power of the system, make it bigger, add more resources within that computer. I cannot add another computer and have this database broken up between multiple computers. So that is SQL in a nutshell. Now we're going to talk about NoSQL. NoSQL is a database, but with no schema. And the way this database is really set up, when you think about it, back to my example, you're going to have a customer data table, you're going to have a receipt table, and you're going to have a vendor table. But let's talk about that receipt table. That receipt table will include not just the date the product was sold, not just the receipt ID, but the customer name, the customer email address, may include the customer phone number, and it'll probably include the vendor product, the vendor ID, and probably the warranty information. Is all going to live inside that table. So what we just saw happen here different in a NoSQL environment is I'm still going to have a customer table that's going to have the repeatable information, i.e. email address, and I'm going to have repeatable information that might live inside the invoice, or not the invoice, but the vendor data, where I'm going to have the product ID and warranty, but it's also going to be on the receipt table. So what that means is that when I have to pull something or look at something, it's much faster because in that table, everything I need is in that table. I don't have to query anything. So it's much quicker to put things together and look at things from a very big scope of, hey, what's going on? Can I look at run some quick analysis inside here? The other thing about this type of database is it's very scalable. I can go vertical, but I can also go horizontal simply because the way the data is set up, I can put it on multiple computers or servers, if you will. Now, the downside of this type of database, however, happens to be, since I repeat everything in a lot of cases, not everything, but things, if I have to update that email address, I have to go to every location that table that has that email address and make sure it's updated. Remember, in SQL, I got one table called the customer table. Everybody has to go there. That's one place I got to update. Here, I got to go across any place, any table that might have that, and make sure that I update it. Or if I update a vendor warranty information, I'm going to have to go to any place that I have the warranty information other than the vendor table. So that is, I guess, NoSQL in a nutshell. Now, the other question that came up that we might want to consider is who's going to win this battle, because we all know NoSQL is kind of new and it's growing. And in my personal opinion, NoSQL is going to continue to grow as we find more opportunities for it, but is not going to take the place of SQL in the end. SQL is still going to be needed because you have banks, you have medical facilities, You have facilities that requires that the data is very stringent, very defined, and that we can see the linkage between it, and we're not going to worry about any accidental change or I guess experience that this data works the way it's supposed to work. When you take a look at NoSQL, however, given the way it's still very new and we're still working through it, we can see that it can give us big data, and it can show us this, but we also show us unique patterns. But we also know that the way it's designed right now, it's not very defined. You can bring data in a very non-defined manner, and that leads to possible not exactly what you're looking for, or very defined information. It'll work great for like marketing. It can work great for like maybe some sort of cancer research, because you're looking for patterns mostly, in my opinion. Rather than we look for defined things, that yes, you can find patterns in SQL, but you need them to be defined. You can't tell a customer, hey, I lost $7,000 of your money. It just doesn't work that way. So as maybe NoSQL becomes more mature, maybe it might take out SQL, but given in its current form, I don't think that it's going to happen. That's my take. Thank you.